$20 billion for a single factory that makes computer chips. That is the price of entry into the modern semiconductor game. Governments will hand you billions more just to break ground on your project. Every smartphone, every car, every data center on Earth needs what you sell. There is no substitute product waiting in the wings to replace microchips anytime soon. That sounds like the most guaranteed business opportunity in human history, and yet the entire industry is built on a terrifying paradox. Your factory can be fully operational, technically perfect, and completely obsolete within a few short years. The very thing that makes chips valuable is the thing that kills your investment. The relentless march to smaller, faster, cheaper transistors does not stop for anyone. It certainly does not stop for the $20 billion you just spent. Building a leading-edge fab today costs more than some countries spend on their military. The physical structure itself accounts for only $4 to $6 billion of that total. The rest of the money vanishes into a black hole of specialized machinery. One single machine costs more than a commercial jetliner and requires its own building. The extreme ultraviolet lithography scanner costs roughly $340 million per unit. A single fab needs several of these machines running simultaneously to be productive. You also need hundreds of other tools that each cost millions of dollars apiece. A 3-nanometer capable facility runs between $15 and $20 billion total. TSMC recently invested over $45 billion into one new factory alone. That is for a single facility dedicated to its 2-nanometer manufacturing process. Now imagine building that exact same factory in the United States instead of Taiwan. The cost roughly doubles and the timeline stretches to twice as long. Higher labor costs, slower permitting, and a supply chain that barely exists yet. America simply does not have the ecosystem that Taiwan spent decades perfecting. Construction alone involves 30 to 40 million work hours of human labor. You need 83,000 tons of steel to frame out the building. Nearly 800,000 cubic yards of concrete get poured into the foundation. All of this just to create a box where chips can be made. The actual production floor must maintain fewer than 10 dust particles per cubic meter. A single speck of dust can ruin a chip with features smaller than the dust itself. Your clean room costs $10,000 to $20,000 per square foot. Not because the room looks fancy or impressive to visitors walking through. It requires isolated foundations to prevent ground vibration from disrupting nanoscale alignment. Specialized air filtration removes virtually every single particle from the environment. Precise humidity and temperature control prevents static discharge from destroying circuits mid-process. One stray static shock and an entire wafer of chips becomes worthless scrap. The design phase before you even manufacture anything carries its own astronomical costs. A single chip's non-recurring engineering cost can run $400 to $600 million. That is the design and verification work before a single wafer gets produced. You have to get the design perfect because mistakes are prohibitively expensive to fix later. A single mask set used to print patterns onto silicon costs $10 to $20 million. These masks are like photographic negatives but for circuits that are invisibly small to the human eye. One design mistake at this stage can waste tens of millions in fabrication costs. You might not even discover the error until after you have run thousands of wafers. And by then the financial damage is already done and cannot be undone. But here is the real trap that lurks beneath the entire semiconductor industry. This is the reason a successful fab can still become a financial catastrophe for its owners. Chip manufacturing follows a relentless technology curve that never pauses or slows down. Every few years a new smaller node becomes the industry standard that everyone wants to use. Customers who need the smallest, fastest, most power-efficient chips migrate to whoever offers it. If your $20 billion fab is optimized for last generation's node, you are in trouble. You are not competing on quality or performance or innovation at that point. You are competing on being obsolete slightly less quickly than your rivals down the street. And once a fab is built for a specific node, the retrofitting costs are staggering to consider. Upgrading to the next node often costs more than building an entirely new factory from scratch. The equipment, the clean room specifications, and the process chemistry are all node-specific. You cannot simply install a software patch and magically upgrade your entire production line overnight. The tools themselves are physically designed for specific wavelengths and specific feature sizes. Changing nodes means ripping out machines that cost billions and replacing them with new ones. That is not an upgrade cycle. That is a complete rebuild from the ground up. Once your fab is running and actually competitive, the revenue model looks genuinely extraordinary. This is exactly why governments and investors keep pouring billions into these massive projects. The core layer is per wafer manufacturing revenue charged to fabless chip design companies. Companies like Apple and Nvidia design chips but do not own their own factories. They pay foundries like TSMC to actually produce the physical silicon for their products. A single advanced wafer can cost the customer well over $20,000 at the cutting edge. By pooling orders from dozens of different chip designers, a foundry achieves critical volume. This volume justifies the enormous fixed costs that would crush a smaller operation completely. The same logic makes an airport or a shopping mall profitable once enough tenants arrive. Depreciation gets folded into the price of every wafer, adding thousands of dollars per unit. That $20 billion facility gets amortized over years and passed along to customers. And switching foundries is genuinely difficult once a chip design is locked to a process. A customer who wins early access to a major fab often stays there for years. This creates a recurring high-margin revenue stream that barely needs to be resolved each cycle. Now let us examine the disaster case study that everyone in the industry remembers clearly. It is a lesson in exactly how fast the technology curve can strand a serious competitor. GlobalFoundries spun out of AMD's own manufacturing arm years ago with high ambitions. The company spent years developing a next-generation 7-nanometer process for its facilities. They went so far as to install at least one EUV lithography machine in New York. That machine is an extremely delicate and extraordinarily expensive piece of equipment to operate. Company executives publicly stated that 7-nanometer chips would be in limited production soon. They targeted the end of 2018 for initial production runs to begin in earnest. Then in August of 2018, GlobalFoundries abruptly halted the entire program indefinitely. The reasoning behind this shocking decision was not a technical failure at all. It was pure math, and the numbers simply did not add up for the company. Ramping up the capacity needed for profitability would have cost another $2 to $4 billion. They needed 40 to 50,000 wafers per month to have any realistic chance of profit. And the company's existing 14-nanometer fab was already running at full capacity consistently. That factory was meeting current demand and generating reliable revenue for the business. There was no easy way to free up capacity for the new node without disrupting operations. They would have to cannibalize a business that was actually working and making real money. Worse, GlobalFoundries' primary advanced node customer AMD had already begun shifting designs. AMD was moving its most demanding chip designs to TSMC across the Pacific Ocean. TSMC had made the multi-billion-dollar bet on 7-nanometer that GlobalFoundries was now abandoning. The decision to withdraw from 7-nanometer led to layoffs affecting roughly 900 employees. This permanently relegated GlobalFoundries from the leading edge of semiconductor manufacturing forever. They ceded that ground to just 3 global players who dominate the industry today. TSMC, Samsung, and Intel are now the only companies competing at the absolute cutting edge. Years of research and development investment and a functioning EUV installation were shelved completely. Not because the technology did not work or was fundamentally flawed in some way, but because the fab could not justify the additional billions required to stay competitive. Its biggest customer had already walked out the door and was not coming back. Let us run the numbers on 2 different scenarios to understand the financial reality clearly. First, the optimistic case where everything goes right for your new semiconductor factory. You build a $20 billion advanced fab with careful planning and execution. You secure long-term supply agreements with 2 or 3 major fab customers beforehand. These agreements are signed before construction even finishes on your new facility. This guarantees enough wafer volume to hit full utilization within 2 years of opening. At roughly $20,000 per wafer and 50,000 wafers per month once ramped. That calculates to $12 billion in annual revenue for your brand new factory. Your operating costs, including materials, utilities, and staffing, run roughly $6 billion annually. That leaves a genuinely strong $6 billion margin every single year of operation. This is precisely the economics that let TSMC justify reinvesting tens of billions each year. They keep building the next facility because the current one is printing money consistently. Now consider the realistic case where things do not go according to your master plan. The same $20 billion fab built for a node that becomes obsolete faster than projected. Or built without the guaranteed anchor customers locked in ahead of time securely. Your primary customer faces better pricing or better performance from a competing foundry. That customer migrates its next chip generation to that competitor across town or overseas. This is exactly what happened to global foundries with AMD walking out the door. Your utilization falls well short of the volume needed to cover your fixed depreciation costs. The fab that cost $20 billion to build now generates a fraction of the revenue. You cannot justify the next node's $20 billion investment with your current earnings. This permanently locks you out of the leading edge for years or even decades ahead. Your factory gets relegated to legacy lower-margin chip production for its entire operating life. You become a second-tier player making older chips that everyone else has moved past. And the billions you spent building the future now produce yesterday's technology for slim profits. That is the nightmare scenario that keeps semiconductor executives awake at night constantly. So if you decide to own a chip factory, understand what you are actually purchasing. You are not buying a factory that makes a durable product you can sell unchanged. You cannot manufacture the same chip for years without updating the design and process. You are buying a perpetual multi-billion-dollar bet that you can stay on the edge. You must remain on the cutting edge of a technology curve that obsoletes itself deliberately. This curve resets every few years and your customers will leave without hesitation. They will depart the instant a competitor's node is smaller or cheaper than yours. Win that bet consistently and you own one of the most valuable businesses on earth. Your foundry becomes a fortress that competitors cannot easily breach or challenge effectively. Lose it once the way global foundries did and you spend billions building the future. And you still end up manufacturing yesterday's chips for the rest of your company's life. The economics of chip fabrication are not for the faint of heart or shallow pockets. This industry rewards patience, scale, and an almost irrational willingness to reinvest constantly. It punishes hesitation, underinvestment, and any belief that today's lead is permanent. The technology curve does not care about your $20 billion investment at all. It moves forward whether you are ready or not, and it leaves no one behind. Governments can throw subsidies at you, but they cannot stop the march of progress. They cannot protect you from a competitor who simply builds a better factory elsewhere. The only real moat in this business is being first and staying first forever. And staying first means spending tens of billions every few years just to stand still. That is the brutal math of owning a chip factory in the modern era. Demand is higher than ever and the future looks bright for semiconductors overall. But the gap between profitable fab and stranded asset is terrifyingly thin to cross. A few wrong decisions, a delayed upgrade, a customer lost to a rival changes everything. Your $20 billion crown jewel becomes a millstone around your company's neck. So ask yourself before you sign those checks and break that ground ceremonially. Are you ready to bet billions every few years on being faster than everyone else? Are you prepared to watch your factory become obsolete and rebuild it from scratch? That is the real economics of owning a chip factory in 2026. Nothing else matters except your willingness to run faster than the technology curve. And the curve never sleeps, never slows, and never forgives those who fall behind.